Well, this is the man in the middle. I'm here to review Sleeping Beauty by Stephen King and Owen King. One of the things that really enticed me about this book was the fact that it is written by Stephen King and his son. I'd really like to be able to do something like that with my son someday, or even do something like that with my dad. But being the first Stephen King book that I've read, I was a big fan of the character development scene in the book, along with the just graphic detail that he's able to really entwine in a lot of those interesting situations that you find yourself in. This really was the worst book to try to pick for a guy who's just trying to cut caffeine out of his life. I felt like I was dozing off all of the time, just like the women inside the book. That chemical imbalance in my head really made this book speak volumes to me and really understand the women and what they were going through falling asleep because they had to cling on to dear life. It did make me laugh when I came to that statement in the book about book clubs being mainly for girls or women. I don't know if I'd be able to pop a bunch of Xanaxes with you guys or ladies when the end of the world comes, but hopefully not all book clubs are for just women. Having two twin girls on the way, the book really hit home the idea of missing all of the women in the world, let alone the women in my life. What are the negatives of the book? Well, I really did like the character development in the book. With the total number of characters that was in this book, somewhere around 70, some of the character development did fall a little bit short. And the one that really hit home to me, I thought, was the fact that Evie, really one of the main characters in the book, just seemed a little flat. And maybe it wasn't the character herself. You never really learned much about her because she was this eminent being from beyond, but it just felt like her motivation really didn't ever ring true anywhere else in the book. I couldn't quite understand what it was that she personally was trying to convey here. In the end of the book, they kind of cut it back to say, you know, it wasn't her doing all this, it was her allowing the women to have their choice. But that choice that they were given without a real reason to have it didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. You know, throughout most of the book, she's claiming that all men are evil and that, you know, they're going to be the end of the world and that this is going to be great when the women are all alone by themselves. But it just didn't seem like much of a motive to me. And, you know, had she claimed that she'd been hurt by somebody, I would understand. Had she been like Frank's wife, who, you know, was used to a man that could flip on a dime the second that he got pissed off, I would understand why she would be like that. It just didn't seem like there really was much of a motive behind what she was trying to do. And with that being said, I felt like the end of the book really was weak as well. The women inside of the story, none of them really returned to a world that it was any better than what it was before, and they didn't have much of a motive to return in some instances. I'm not really looking for a happy ending at the end of a Stephen King book. I should probably know better than that. I would at least expect some of the relationships into the book to come out stronger than they were beforehand. Otherwise, what was the point of the women returning from the other side? All of them gave small claims about, yeah, we can't go without the men that are here now, but by the description at the end of the book, it definitely seems like most of them did. It just didn't seem like there really was much of an overarching message to the book. Aside from, would the world be better off without men? And they don't really give you an answer. It didn't make much sense to me. I enjoyed the character development. I really enjoyed all the characters that were in the book. I loved how all of the story was intertwined and so many characters were flushed out so well. But when the end of the book came, I just felt like there wasn't much meaning behind it. All right, Phil, now here's my question for you. How do you think you and the boys would be able to handle an incident like this? I know me and my 2-year-old son would have a pretty tough time trying to make the world work with just us. And I don't know if I'd be able to leave him at some dude's daycare. Maybe that's just me being sexist or something, but I don't know if I could do it. Anyways, thanks.